During this video, we're going to be talking about ratios and ratio tables. So basically, a ratio is a comparison of two quantities. And we're going to be using these phrases whenever we're reading or identifying ratios. For each, for every, per, or whenever you see these two dots, there's another way to read them, such as saying to. Okay? Let's take a look at this example. For every 3 goals scored, there were 2 matches played. What's the ratio goals to matches? As you can see here, there are 3 goals, okay? So what's the ratio goals? They want me to find out first the goals to, you see the little dots in here? 2 matches. So what's the ratio goals to matches? Well, basically 3 goals to 2 matches. So this is the ratio. For every 3 goals, there were 2 matches played. I would like you to pause the video and try to write this ratio. For every 4 albums released, Taylor Swift wins 1 Grammy Award. What's the ratio album released to Grammy Awards won? Pause the video and try to write the ratio. Alright, as they are asking me for the album first, okay, she released 4 albums, so it will be 4. For every 4 albums, she wins 1 Grammy. So basically, this is my ratio, the ratio that they're asking me. What's the ratio? Album release to Grammy Awards won. Pause the video and try to do this ratio example. For every 5 hours played, the player completes 1 level in the game. But pay attention to the question. It says, what's the ratio level completed to hours played? Pause the video and try to do this ratio by yourself. Very good. As you can see, this ratio is asking me for the level completed first. And then it was basically 1 level. So it will be 1, 2, how many hours? Well, 5 hours. This means that in order for this player to pass 1 level, it needs to play for 5 entire hours. Because for every 1 level completed, it will basically take 5 long hours. The order of the quantities in a problem determines the order of the ratio. That's why it's so important to pay attention at the question at the end. What kind of ratio they're asking you? Let's see. In this example, it says, there are 11 girls and 12 boys in a class. Write the ratio boys to girls. As you can see, boys is first. They want me to find out this ratio. Boys to girls. How many boys? You can see it here. 12 boys to 11 girls. So that is the ratio. 12 boys to 11 girls. Or basically, for every 12 boys, there are 11 girls in the class. Now I would like you to try this example by yourself. Alright, it says, there are 12 dogs and 15 cats at a pet store. Write the ratio of cats to dogs. So they want me to find out cats first and then dogs. So what's the ratio? Well, it says that in here, there are 15 cats. Let me write it down here. And 12 dogs. So this is my ratio that they are asking me. And you might say, this ratio is also correct. Well, it is not correct because they're not asking me the ratio dog to cat. No, no. They're asking me the ratio of cats to dogs. That's why the order matters. Okay, so pay close attention to the question that they are asking you. Now that you understood how to write and identify ratios, now we're going to be finding and interpreting the value of the ratio, okay? So I would like you to imagine that we're preparing a slime, and these are the ingredients: cold water, 3/2 cups, hot water, 4/3 cups, glue, 2 cups, and borax, 3 teaspoons. So here it says, find and interpret the value of the ratio cold water to glue. So basically, they want me to know this. Cold water to, okay, remember that this is another way to write this, 2 dots. Cold water to glue. So according to my ingredients, I will need 3/2 cups of cold water. Okay? And the glue, it will basically be 2 cups. Whenever they ask you to find and interpret the value of the ratio, basically you will divide that ratio that they're asking you. So I will do 3/2 divided. It's like if I put a little line here, okay, for the division symbol, divided by 2. Remember that there is always an invisible one under any whole number. In order for you to divide this fraction, you need to keep the first fraction the same, change the division symbol for multiplication, and then you need to write the reciprocal or flip the second fraction. It will be half. Now you're ready to multiply 3 times 1, which is 3, and 2 times 2, which is 4. Well, I know that the value of the ratio cold water to glue is 3/4 cups, which basically means that the amount of cold water is 3/4 the amount of glue. Now, I would like you to pause the video and try to find and interpret the value of the ratio hot water to borax. Pause the video and try to do it by yourself. All right, so basically the ratio that they want me to know is hot water to borax. According to my ingredient list, I will need 4/3 cups of hot water and 3 teaspoons of borax. Remember, in order for you to interpret the value of this ratio, you just divide them and that's it. So let's do 4/3 divided by 3. Invisible 1 as a denominator. In order for me to divide these fractions, I need to keep, change, and flip. Now I'm ready to multiply my fractions. 4 times 1 is 4, and 3 times 3 is 9. So this is the value of this ratio, which basically means that the amount of hot water is 4/9 the amount of borax. How about this? It says you mix 2/3 teaspoons of baking soda with 3 teaspoons of salt. Find and interpret the value of the ratio of baking soda to salt. Please pause the video and try to do it by yourself. All right? So basically they want me to find the ratio baking soda to salt. Okay? So it says here that 2/3 teaspoon of baking soda. So that will be my first number. 2/3 to, let's see how many salt, 3 teaspoons, okay? This is the baking soda, and this is the teaspoon, okay? Teaspoon of salt. So in this case, it will be 3. Remember, in order for you to find and interpret the value of any ratio, you basically divide those two ratios, and that's it. So let's do it. 2/3 divided by 3. Invisible 1 as a denominator. In order for you to divide fractions, you need to keep the first fraction the same, change division symbol for multiplication, and then you're going to flip the second fraction, 1/3. Now you're ready to multiply numerator by numerator, denominator by denominator. 2 times 1 is 2, and 3 times 3 is 9. So my final answer is 2/9, which means that the amount of baking soda is 2/9 the amount of salt. Now we're ready to talk about ratio tables, okay? Two ratios that describe the same relationships, they're called equivalent ratios. The values of equivalent ratios are equivalent, are equal. So let's see what I mean by this. The ratio of 1 to 2 is equivalent to 3 to 6. So let's see what that means. So if I have 1 to 2 and I have 3 to 6, let's see if this is true. In order for me to move from 1 to 3, what operation do you think I need to do? Yes, I need to multiply times 3 here in order for me to move from 1 to 3. How about here? 2 times what is equals to 6? Yes, you got it right. 2 times 3. So now I multiply each part of my ratio by the same number. But I also can multiply across to find out if I get the same number. Let's see. 1 times 6 is 6, but also 2 times 3 is 6. So yes, these ratios are equivalent. How about this example? Is 1 to 2 equivalent to 2 to 4? Let's see. I'm going to line them up like this. 1 to 2 and 2 to 4. 1 times 2 is 2. Very good. And 2 times, again, 2 is 4. So I moved from 2 to 4 by multiplying by 2. Let's cross multiply to see if they are equal, equivalent. 1 times 4 is 4, but also 2 times 2 is 4. So yes, they are equivalent. I would like you to try to do this one by yourself. Is 1 to 2 equivalent to 3 to 4? Please try to do it by yourself. All right, so let me see. 1 to 2 and 3 to 4. So basically, in order for them to move from 1 to 3, they had to multiply by 3, right? Times 3. But here, in order for them to move from 2 to 4, they had to multiply times 2 because 2 times 2 is 4. I see that I am not multiplying my ratio by the same number. Let's continue to try to find out. 1 times 4 is 4, and 2 times 3 is 6. Oops! Nope, they are not equivalent. All right, so that's how you find out if ratios are equivalent or no. But you might be wondering, why are you talking about equivalent ratios? Well, basically, because we organize equivalent ratios in a ratio table. We can do that by adding or subtracting quantities in equivalent ratio or multiplying or dividing each quantity in a ratio by the same number, just like we did it before, okay? Now, let's take a look at this example. To make yellow icing, you mix 6 drops of yellow food coloring, okay? 6 drops of yellow food coloring with 1 cup of white icing. How much yellow food coloring should you mix? 5 cups of white icing to get the same shade. They said that I have 6 drops of yellow food coloring. Drops of yellow. So I'm going to write a 6 here. With 1 cup of white icing. 1 cup. I have my ratio here. 6 to 1. You can represent it like this. 6 to 1. Or you can represent it like this. 6 to 1. For every 6, there's 1. Okay? But then it says, how much yellow food coloring should you mix? 5 cups of white icing. Okay? 5 cups of white icing to get the same shade. So, as you can see, I have an unknown number here. But if you take a look, what do they do to move from 1 to 5? Yes, they multiply by 5 here. So if I multiply by 5 here, I can also multiply by 5 here to find out my answer. 6 times 5 is 30. So basically, I will need 30 drops of yellow to get the same shade. Now, pause the video and try to do this example by yourself. All right. It says here, in a recent year, Joe Reynoso won a hot dog eating contest by eating nearly 66 hot dogs, oh my goodness, in 12 minutes. If he ate at a constant rate, determine about how many hot dogs he ate every 2 minutes. So let's see the information. So this guy was eating on a hot dog contest, okay? And he ate nearly 66 hot dogs. So how many hot dogs? 66. In how many minutes? In 12 minutes. Oh my goodness. If he ate at a constant rate, determine about how many hot dogs he ate every 2 minutes. So I'm going to put the 2 under here because it's 2 minutes, okay? Now I need to think about what can I do to move from 12 to 2? Do I multiply or divide? Yes, I need to divide. If I divide 12 by 6, I will get 2. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Divided by 6. All right, so 66 divided by 6 is 11. So now I know that if he ate at a constant rate, he will eat 11 hot dogs every 2 minutes. Isn't that crazy? Now is a moment for you to do ratio tables with rational numbers. As you can see, we have whole numbers and we also have a fraction here. So whenever you're working with rational numbers on a ratio table, I prefer to think about it in a proportional way. So what I do is basically I'm going to start working with the first box, okay? So I have this empty space that I don't know how many kilometers per hour. I still do not know. So basically what I do is I write down my ratio in fraction form. 5/2 will be my numerator and 4 will be my denominator, okay? For every 4 hours, I will, drive 5/2 kilometers, okay? And then I'm going to write my numerator, that is, X, my denominator, that is 16. And now I can cross multiply. 4 times X, which is 4X. And then 5/2 times 16. Let me do it here. 5/2 times 16. Invisible 1. And then 5 times 16 is 80. And 2 times 2 is 2. That is equals to 40. So I'm going to put 40 here. As you know, when we're working with equations, my goal is to isolate my variable. So I need to get rid of the intruder. In this case, the intruder is 4 and it's multiplying my variable. So I need to do inverse operation, which is division. So I'm going to divide by 4, divide by 4. And now I know that X is equals to 10. Very good. So my unknown number, now I know that is a 10. Okay? Let me erase the X here so you don't get confused with it. But now you know what is it that we did over here. We're going to do exactly the same in the other side of the table. So now we have this other side of the table with another unknown. We don't know. So I'm going to write this ratio in fractional form. 10 out of 16. And this ratio in fractional form. 5 out of X. Now I need to cross multiply. 10 times X is 10X. Is equals to 5 times 16, we already know it from here, is 80. So now I need to divide by 10 divide by 10 so I can isolate my variable, and it's equals to 8. So I know that my missing number is 8. Basically, I do this when I have a ratio table with rational numbers on it, and I cannot see clearly what they're doing, if they're multiplying here by 2 or multiplying here by 4. What is it that they're doing to generate equivalent ratio? So that's what I do to solve this type of table. I would like you to try to do this one by yourself. I'm going to start with the first box, the first part of my table. So I'm going to rewrite this ratio in fractional form. It will be 0.4 or 4/10 to 0.75 or 75/100th, okay? Then I'm going to put an X here because I don't know what's the value over here yet. 1.2, okay, out of X, because I don't know how many days I'm going to consume this amount of gallons, okay? So I'm going to cross multiply. 0.4 times X is 0.4X. And now I'm going to multiply these two decimal numbers. I'm going to do it over here. So it's 0.75 times 1.2. Remember that when you're multiplying decimal numbers, you need to shift the decimal point out, you bring it back again. So I did 1 and 2 and 3 times, okay? 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 7 is 14 and 1, 15. 0 times 2 or 2 times 0 is 0, but I have a 1 here, so it will be 1. Now I'm going to put my invisible 0. 1 times 5, 5. 1 times 7, 7, and 1 times 0 is 0. Now I'm ready to add these values. 0, 10, 7, 8, and 9, and a 0 over here. As I shift my decimal point 3 spaces out, I'm going to shift it in 3 spaces in. Remember that the decimal point is always invisible right here. 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to be using 0.9, okay? So I'm going to put 0.9 here. And just as you know, in order for you to isolate your variable, you need to do inverse operation. As 0.4 is multiplying X, I'm going to divide 0.4 here and also 0 here as well. So I can cross these out. So it will be X is equals to, now I need to do this division. I'm going to do it over here because I don't have too much space. 0.4 divided by 0.9. I'm going to shift this decimal point 1 time, 1 and 1 time, and then I'm going to put it right here into my equation area. So if you think about how many times does 4 fit into 9? Actually 2 times, because 4 times 2 is 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. I'm going to bring this invisible 0 that is here, I'm going to bring it down. 4 times 2, again, is 8. So now I have a 2, and I can bring down another 0. So I have a 20, because 4 times 5 is 20. So now I know that X is equals to 2.25, okay? 2.25. So I have my first value already done. So I'm going to erase this X that I have here, and I'm going to put my new value, 2.25. Another way to work in the other part of the table, again, is by thinking about proportions, okay? So I have my first ratio. I'm going to write it down in a fraction form. It will be 1.2 divided by 2.25. Now I have 1.6, but I don't know how many days yet, okay? I only know the gallons, that is 1.6. So now again, you do cross multiplication. 1.2 times X is 1.2x. That is equals to 1.6 times 2.25. I'm going to proceed to erase these because I didn't have enough space for me to show you that multiplication. I'm going to do 2.25 times 1.6. Remember, you need to shift the decimal point out, 1 and 2, and 3 in total. 6 times 5 is 30. 3 times 2 is 12, and 3, 15. 6 times 2 is 12, and 1, 13. Now I'm going to bring down my invisible 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. Now I'm ready to add. 0. 5 plus 5 is 10. 3 plus 2 is 5 and 1, 6. And 2 plus 1 is 3. As I shifted my decimal point 3 spaces out, I'm going to bring it back again 3 spaces in. 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to use 3.6. But I am not done yet because I have 1.2 as an intruder that I need to cancel out. As 1.2 is multiplying my variable, I need to do inverse operation, which is division. So I'm going to divide by 1.2 and divide by 1.2 as well. Now I can cancel these out. X is equals to, let me get the eraser so I have enough space for me to show you these divisions. All right, so I can do 1.2 divided by 3.6. Shift my decimal point 1 space, shift my decimal point 1 space, and then I need to bring it up into my equation area. 12 times 3 is actually 36. So my answer is 3. X is 3. So let me get my eraser because I already found out that it will take me 3 days to consume 1.6 gallons.